Toll Brothers grocery store. And Tad and Roy Flippo. Now, Roy Flippo is Ellen Flippo Wall's father. And when his brother Tad died, he sold the grocery store that I used to bag groceries in on Saturday to get enough Saturday night money for movies, and he bought the Laurel Brigade Inn. And somewhere in the time events, and I don't know, in the early 50s, I guess, I started working on the streets of Leesburg January the 2nd of 1951, and in the county bought this building, and that was the Loudoun County office building and where the Board of Supervisors met and all of that. The heating system blew up. They didn't take care of it, and the building was abandoned and torn down. And that's where one of the court buildings is now, beside the Loudoun County Courthouse. But when they tore it down, we had to have a place, and we went to the Laurel Brigade, and that's when we started meeting in the Laurel Brigade. And we did the same old practice there. We've gotten away from it now, but you had to buy a ticket at the desk before you could go in to get dinner. But I don't know who took those tickets up. I didn't do it. Somebody did. But later, you know, we invited Ellen to be a Rotarian, and she is a fine Rotarian, has been for years. And bless her soul, we had a birthday party for her Sunday. If you were there, you know how delightful it was. If you weren't, well, you missed it, but I'm sorry. But anyway, this is, we met there until, I don't know, when did we stop meeting there, Ernie?
I don't know.
What happened? Was it? You know, see, my history's not good. I don't remember why we left the Laurel Brigade, but there hasn't been.
Sold to lawyers.
All right.
Lawyers.
My time calendar's not very good, and someday when you want to know all the stories, we'll go talk about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Great job. Well, let's see.
Chris gave me this one. Thank you, Chris. I like it.
Many memories of the old hotel, and it's interesting that Beck's here because he designed the building that took the place of the old hotel. And you can still see in the back of the building the foundation of the old hotel. There's a stone wall. You sneak back through security in the back and see a wall back there. That's part of that original building. So there is a vestige of something back there. Well, Joe Kelly is going to... Joe Kelly, who has... who's that, Boone's Farm?
Of all the great pictures you got of me.
Well, it looks like Captain Jack. But Joe is going to talk to us about that picture. Now, he's going to talk to us about 100% attendance. So, Joe, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
This was an anti-Bloomberg commercial I was doing. If you didn't agree with breast abuse, stay on the bottom. Hey, it's great to see Beckham back here, George Atwell. Beckham was also a past president of his club, and it's great to see him back. Beckham, you look okay, but Tina looks terrific. But it's great to see you. Being number 2 on the list, I was asked to talk about our historic record of 288 consecutive meetings. It wasn't easy. we had to give up a lot to make that happen.
Third from the right, is that you?
It was kind of funny.
Joe's third on the left.
It was kind of funny that Tom mentioned Charles Lindbergh crossing the Atlantic, in 55 hours. I recently went to Ireland, and it took about the same time. But Lindbergh didn't have to put up with the TSA crap. Fred and Kate, good luck. I hope you get a better trip than I did. The Leesburg Charter Night was in July of 1927. And again, it's been redundant, but as usual for Rotary, we repeat a lot of things, but for most of us, you hear it for the first time. However, on January the 13th of 1928, the quest for a record of perfect attendance was begun by the Leesburg Rotary. The club responded immediately with 100% attendance at the district conference in Norfolk, Virginia. It said some went by motor and some went by boat. Now, I don't know how the hell they got up Great Falls, but they got to Norfolk. But 100% showed up. In June of 1930, the Leesburg Rotary Club hired a private rail car and attended the Chicago World Conference. Again, 100%. On June the 22nd, 1932, Leesburg passed O'Fallon Rotary Club, who at that time had reached 282 but broke their chain of attendance. Leesburg went on for the next 6 meetings to 288. And the only reason that it stopped was a gentleman by the name of Terry Hurst. Many of you remember J.T. Hurst. Became very ill. He wanted to hold a Rotary meeting in his hospital room, but his doctors would not allow it because of the seriousness of his illness. He then offered his resignation, which was turned down. And the chain was broken at 288 meetings. Thankfully, Terry Hurst recovered. And the Leesburg Rotary Club went on to have an additional 125 consecutive 100% meetings. Now, that is an incredible record and will never be broken. Not in this day and time and what the things that you have to do, but it will never be broken. It will never even come close. If you calculate it out, that's 5.5 years of perfect attendance for 24 individuals. O'Fallon Rotary Club, who was second, had only 15 members. That was wonderful, but wasn't as big as what Leesburg Rotary Club. If you added 225, that's 414 meetings. It would be 8 years of perfect attendance. Now, I wondered about guys that don't miss Rotary for 8 years. It must be exciting. However, I was rescued today by Ron Rogas came and gave me a book that was published some 25 years ago by Stanley Calkins, and it was the history of the Leesburg Rotary Club and what was being, it should be required reading for every Rotarian. Because not only did they attend meetings religiously, but the work they did for their community was outstanding. And I just took a few excerpts out of it I'd like to share with you. And these are just a few. In 1927, the Rotary Club put up the first ever Christmas tree on the Loudon Courthouse. It was enjoyed by all, and the residents came out for the first time and sang Christmas carols, courtesy of the Rotary Club of 1927. Now fast forward, because just a lot of things happened, and I'm not going to belabor things. But in 1945, the club sent a resolution to Judge Alexandria urging that Route 7 be 4-lane from Leesburg to Washington. In 1946, a resolution was sent to the Highway Commission urging a bridge be erected at White's Ferry to Maryland. We're still riding the ferry. In 1946, General Anthony McAuliffe spoke to the club on the atom bomb. If many of you recall, that same general was, when surrounded at Bastogne, replied to the Germans when asked for surrender, "Nuts, go to hell." What was extraordinary about reading this is the type of world-class speakers that the Leesburg Rotary Club had come talk to them. In March of 1947, General George Marshall was elected to membership. In 1955, General Marshall was a speaker, and he barred the press from the room and really let his hair down on speaking on the China situation. Just imagine the press being banned from a room today. Nobody can tell the truth anymore. January of 1956, the club was saddened by the death of George Hughes. He had at this time attended 1,428 consecutive meetings. George Hughes was also the owner of Belmont Plantation Field. June of 1957, General Marshall again let his hair down with a talk on the Marshall Plan, which was on his 10th anniversary. October 59, the death of George Marshall was announced at the club. He had died on October 16. April of 1963, Major General Olmsted talked on banking, as his organization had just bought the People's National Bank. Many of you remember it as the Financial General Corporation. Now it's Lightfoot Restaurant. July the 1st, 1965, past President Frank Patton penned the incoming President Stanley Calkins as the incoming President. On June the 30th, Stanley Calkins, the past President, presented a pen to T. Benton Smith. Let me tell you, Leesburg Rotary has a wonderful tradition. And these were not all in the past, because I remember, as Beckham and so forth will remember, Rotarians had perfect attendance of, and I don't know the exact number of, I'm guessing, but John Dietrich, Frank Myers, George Atwell had over 35 years. I will ask George if that's correct, but George, we need to get finished before midnight. but that is sensational. Stanley Calkins, John Marsh, Carl Emswiller. Had perfect attendance for well over 25 years. Also Ben Lawrence, Perry Winston, and Johnny Wright. John Mapp also had an unbelievable run. I wasn't very good. I had perfect attendance the year I was president. Because I had committed to this club for that year and I stuck to my guns. And I had 1 year in a row. 288 consecutive 100% meetings. A world's record in this little club, and will never be broken. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe. And I will say that we're in the same ballpark. I had 100% attendance the year I was president. That was it.